Arsenal moderation, often compared to the moderation of Roblox itself, has major flaws and errors in its system, and is often regarded as corrupt. Well, today, my friends, I'll be exposing the moderation of a popular FPS game on Roblox, known as Arsenal, created by a group named Rolv. From plenty of misinformation being spread to the most biased bans in all of Roblox, this is the dark side of Arsenal moderation. We all know that Roblox games need moderation, and it's no surprise to the average player that Roblox, having one of the largest populations of exploiters out of any other video game, creates major consequences. This was the same case for Arsenal. Being widely overrun by exploiters almost every day, they needed to step up their game. Lead developer Exone would create something known as the Arsenal Anti-Cheat, otherwise known as RAC. This tool would not only be incredibly accurate, but would also let Rolv ban more cheaters than their game moderation team. Now, obviously there were mistakes in the anti-cheat, and people have been falsely banned, but the majority of these false bans have been corrected by the devs, and the only time it would falsely ban people is by big waves. The most well-known example of this would be an infamous exploiter known as Bolts, who would ban hundreds of players using a Thundercline script. Fortunately, the majority of false bans from these waves were resolved and the players would be unbanned shortly after. However, individuals themselves would not get falsely triggered by the anti-cheat, and cases like these were especially rare. Because of this, the devs and mods would conclude that every person banned by the anti-cheat was in fact an exploiter. Considering this, I will focus more on manual bans instead of RAC, simply because of no proven evidence that RAC can falsely ban you. So now you may be asking, what is so bad about the moderation system? Well, let's just say that Rolv's darkest secrets lie deep within the rabbit hole. But before we get into this, I want to talk about a common misconception taking place in the Arsenal community. This is the rumor claiming that being banned from Arsenal means you exploited. This statement is false for many reasons. Bans from Arsenal come in a variety of reasons. This includes ban evasion, impersonating a mod, exploiter association, etc. In fact, this was confirmed by the devs themselves, stating that bans were not exclusive to hackers, including an unprofessional statement Exone made claiming that he could ban someone purely because he didn't like them. With all of this in mind, it's pretty clear that all bans are not the result of an exploit. Now that that's clear, let's start off on Rolv's unclear rulebook dilemma. Rolv's rulebook has been outdated for 3 years, and it's never clearly stated the rules. For example, people have been banned for reasons like profiting, malicious behavior, exploiter association, and etc. Rolv can technically ban us for anything at this point because of how vague the rules are. We've seen a great example of this as well, with fairly known drama that occurred about a year ago with Exone and a YouTuber known as AmazeBot. For context, AmazeBot had been friends with an exploiter known as Lolcat, who had essentially used exploits to give him dev melees in the game. Amazed being aware of this would be in calls with him, including him defending Lolcat on Twitter. This would lead to Amaze getting perm banned from Arsenal for exploiter association. Now, whether the ban was justified or not is a different story, but the main problem with this is that exploiter association has never been clearly defined by the devs. Does this mean we can't be friends with exploiters, or we can't play Arsenal with them? What is the true meaning of exploiter association? All it takes is for Rolve to make one decent rulebook in their exploit server, stating everything that can possibly get you banned. Yet they've neglected this for 3 years, not putting any effort to improve the rulebook. Another ban reason that's also been vague is bug abuse. We all know that bug abuse should be allowed in private servers, as it's not affecting the actual game. There are many people, including content creators, who have done this before. This has been made very unclear, however, as I had a chat with an Arsenal moderator named Dev Metamorphic, possibly one of the most inexperienced moderators on Rolve, telling me that bug abuse can get you banned even if it's done in a VIP server. This doesn't make any sense. There are so many people who have abused bugs in VIPs. If they really abide by this rule, they should ban half the player base. But enough of that, let's now move on to Arsenal's corrupt appeal system. It's pretty clear that Rolve does not care about their appeal system. This can be found in the exploit server. We see in their appeal section that not a single appeal has been accepted in over 2 years before their new update. The only reason people got unbanned is because the evidence was either garbage or because they had a good reputation. But now let's move on to the new update that they did with the appeal system, using a new system called ModMail. ModMail is a Discord bot where the staff can interact with users who were possibly falsely banned without the users knowing who they are. It's a really good system, and I figured that Rolve's appeals had finally been fixed, but I was far from the truth. There is one problem Rolve has had for a very long time, and that is not giving users evidence to why they were banned. Now, why is this a major issue, you may ask? Well, that is because it defeats the entire purpose of an appeal. I don't understand how you appeal a ban if you don't even know what evidence got you banned in the first place. This gives the mods complete power over the situation, so I decided to ask Exone about this, and here was his response. Exone stated that people who reported the evidence usually had it uploaded to YouTube and would often get harassed. I think this is a fair point, but something I don't agree with is the fact that he says that this is more often than not, which really doesn't make any sense, because most reports are by random people in public lobbies. And do you really think that they're gonna get harassed for reporting someone? The person probably doesn't even know or have any contact with that individual. I know that in some cases, harassment does occur when they have connections with the reporter, but this doesn't really change anything because the people already tend to know who reported them, and harassment occurs either way. Exone also says that the user does not have any more insight on the situation than the moderators who deal with it daily, which is one of the biggest lies I've ever heard. The only person who knows if they were false banned is the person who got banned. We can't just expect the moderators to know if your ban is false or not. This is why banned players should get to see the evidence that got them banned, and then say something about it. Maybe providing evidence through screenshots, explanations, and videos, etc. He goes on to respond, asking if they should blindly trust players who were banned, which has absolutely nothing with what I said, because the mod should make decisions based on both sides. If the person gives bad evidence, then the appeal should be denied. If these mods are really experienced, then they should be able to tell if someone is lying or not in the response. Sometimes the evidence could be taken out of context, or it could be extremely one-sided without the mods knowing about it, which can be completely solved with this addition. Exone goes on to disagree with this, saying that the evidence is reviewed by plenty of mods with different fields of experience. The number of moderators are extremely exaggerated in his statement, because Rolve might have 20 moderators, but only 5 people are actually active. The mods are also not even experienced, because the only reason someone becomes an Arsenal moderator is because they are good friends with the developers and get referred. To be an Arsenal moderator, the only experience you really need is being able to tell the difference between legit and cheats. When it comes to cases like closet cheating, the mods can't actually tell if someone is cheating, and the only reason they'd get banned is if there was a majority vote between the mods or if there was video proof of the person cheating. With all of this in mind, let me show you examples of why the system is flawed. A speedrunner named Kalolboy was banned from Arsenal a while back, and the evidence that got him banned was a screenshot of him being the only one killing people in the kill feed. This is completely normal, that's the whole point of speedrunning, but you want to know what the moderators said? They said that he was cheating because 2 people reported him with the same screenshot, even though the mod was provided with a video of him hitting the shots that were claimed to be quote-unquote cheats in this screenshot. Not only was this a stupid claim, but the evidence itself shouldn't even be enough to ban someone. I don't understand how they even concluded that he was cheating with this evidence. Now, Kalolboy did get unbanned, but it took weeks to resolve this, showing how inexperienced these moderators are. I'm telling you that there are thousands of these false bans, but finding actual evidence to back that claim up is harder than you can imagine because of Rolb not disclosing it. Today, I will be looking into one specific ban that was never resolved, a sad story that could possibly change your entire views on the Rolb team. This is the ban of Nick. Nick was the owner of a competitive server known as Ace, and he played on 2 Roblox accounts named Before Dread and LAmNickHaha, which were both owned by him. In one unfortunate day, his Arsenal career would come to a sad end when his account Before Dread would be permanently banned from the game, with the reason stating evasion. Evasion basically means that you've already been banned on another account and now evading that ban using an alt account. But there is something wrong here. Nick had never been banned. His other account, LAmNickHaha, was still available to play on. As I mentioned in my previous video, I's and L's look very similar, so it looks like they are duplicate accounts. So Nick decided to use ModMail to request an appeal for his ban, but you want to know what happened? He was completely ghosted. His last option would be to talk with the mods in the Arsenal Discord, and one of the mods would show evidence of him being rack banned, but the account they were talking about was not the one owned by Nick. The mod said it was handled by someone else, which he assumed was Exone. So Nick asked Exone in the Arsenal Discord to unban him because of the mistake. Exone responded saying his ban reason was pretty clear. Nick then responds asking why he was ghosted on ModMail, and Exone responds by completely humiliating him in front of everyone. I'm not joking when I say this, you can literally check in the Arsenal Discord yourself. Exone says they would get harassed by you and your comp buddies obviously. What he is referring here is that his ModMail was ignored simply because he was a comp player. Nick responds with anger, as he should, saying that he was being biased, and Exone's response would just state that he would receive the same treatment regardless if he was a comp player or not. This is a massive lie. If he was really going to be treated the same as any other player, then he would have been unbanned by now. Rolb has had this extreme hatred towards comp players because a few of them were harassing the devs. They go on to assume that all comp players are liars, which is simply not true. Nick was also being pretty reasonable from what I've seen, so I don't get why he was treated so bad in the Arsenal Discord. Nick would also get banned from the Arsenal Discord shortly after. In the end, I honestly can't believe this situation went unnoticed, because of how unfair it was. This sheds a very bad light on the devs, and shows how unprofessional Exone really is. This isn't the only instance of him being unprofessional though, as I will be taking a look into a few more. If you've been in the Arsenal community for the past year or so, you probably remember the drama between Exone and Unpredictable FPS. For background, FPS had made a video helping mobiles get a bundle in the Arsenal called Opera GX. In this video though, he would use a method that could potentially break the game. Instead of reaching out to him or leaving a comment to take the video down, or at least some sort of warning, Exone would instantly ban him for 3 months for profiting off an exploit. This connects back to the unclear rulebook, as stuff like this was never mentioned. Nobody ever knew that you could get banned for things like this. Banning FBS didn't change anything either, so the entire ban was completely useless, as FBS continued to make Arsenal videos using old footage. But this is not even comparable to what Exone did in the Arsenal Discord, which will shock most people watching this video. Exone banned a guy from Arsenal for 3 years just because he was being toxic to him in the Arsenal Discord. Let me tell you the events one by one. A user named Trusted, who was a troll, would join the Arsenal Discord seeking attention and ping Exone with useless things such as, "I could have finished A2 by now," and "I'll take Exone's job." Instead of banning this troll or just muting him like a proper developer, he decides to engage in the conversation with him and start arguing with him. He'd lose it eventually and just straight up ban this guy from the game for 3 years for harassing the devs. But surprise, surprise, the only reason the devs got harassed is because he was not banned from the server. I honestly cannot describe how disgusting this behavior is. As a developer, you can't just ban someone from the game because they were being toxic to you in general chat. His ban time was even triple what a normal exploiter would face, which doesn't make any sense because the action should have stayed on Discord. You might claim that Exone is a developer, so he can do whatever he wants. Now this may be true, but with the game big as Arsenal, there are responsibilities involved. It's pretty clear that the power got to his head, and he's been banning people from the game left and right instead of solving situations. But Exone has done far worse than this, and that is faking rack bans. Yes, Exone has faked anti-cheat bans before. I've had personal experiences with this, but I'll first start off with a user known as Suprain. Suprain had gotten anti-cheat banned after one of his friends cheated on his account. His ban was revoked by a moderator as a mistake because his account was his responsibility. When people asked Exone about this, he claimed that Suprain had never been banned. Here is video proof that Suprain was banned, in case you think he was lying. So the question is, why did Exone say otherwise? Well, this is because he didn't want people to know that Rolb had unbanned an anti-cheat ban, because he portrays the moderators as perfect in some sense. And once this video started to gain attraction, you wanna know what happened? Exone would re-ban Suprain, claiming he was anti-cheat banned in Zinx2K's community Discord. The second instance of this was something I personally experienced. I was ban evading on one of my streams, and my ban reason would state rack banned, even though I wasn't actually rack banned. Here is me going on that specific account, proving once again I was not anti-cheat banned. At first, I thought this was just a bug in the game, since it happened to others as well. However, Exone made a tweet on Twitter saying that I was anti-cheat banned, which doesn't really make any sense. Another thing that Exone has said is that if someone else cheated on your account, there would be no unban because your account is your responsibility, and that Rolb has never unbanned anyone as a result of this. This again, though, is one of Exone's lies. A popular YouTuber known as Excitable had been banned because of someone else cheating on his account. Since he wasn't a complete random though, the mods decided to unban him. But when it comes to randoms like Rain, for example, there is no unban issued. This is an example of favoritism in Rolv, and Exone has been covering this up for a long time.
Alright, so the first thing I'm going to go through is why I was banned. So basically, someone managed to get access to my account and then used exploits on my account. You can currently see the footage of the exploiter in game. If the exploiter...
At the end of the day, even though the moderation system has many mistakes, no system is perfect. What I don't agree with is Exone portraying it as perfect in some sense, which is essentially the main reason I made this video. One disclaimer I do want to throw out is that this video is only meant to be against Exone and not any of the other developers, so please do not send hate to anyone in the Rolb team. And that, my friends, is the dark side of Arsenal moderation. Goodbye.